Hello, sixth graders. Today we are going to start topic 12.7, which is evaluate expressions with fractions. So in the beginning of sixth grade, we did a lot of evaluating expressions, but only with whole numbers. Now, when we evaluate expressions, we need to remember to always use order of operations. So remember, that's our little pizza that we did in the beginning of the year. So that's using PEMDAS, okay? Parentheses, you always do that operation first. Then you do exponents, multiplication and division, left to right, and then addition and subtraction, left to right. So I just put that on the side just so I can, that's a helpful tip for myself. So I always know when I'm evaluating this expression, I use order of operations. So now let's look at this expression. Can we solve this expression right now? And remember, when it says evaluate, that basically is just a fancy word for solve. So can we solve this? We cannot solve it because I see a variable. We do not know at the time what this variable is, so we cannot do anything yet. But when I tell you that S equals 2/3, then we can solve it. All right? So we're given right now that the variable is 2/3. So we can do a certain thing called substitution, and we can plug in that 2/3 in for S and solve. So let's rewrite the whole entire expression. So we have 1/4 plus 1/4 divided by, and instead of writing S to the power of 2 or S squared, well, since S equals 2/3, we can just write 2/3 squared. Now that looks a little crazy, so what I like to do with my fraction, if we're putting it to a power of something, put it in parentheses. All right, so now this is the expression that we're solving. So let's look at our order of operations. Are we going to add first? Are we going to divide first? Or are we going to use our exponent or solve for our exponent first? What are we going to do? Well, if I look at my order of operations, parentheses and exponents are first. So I'm going to focus on 2/3 squared. So now I have another question for you. Is 2/3 squared the same thing as saying 2/3 times 2? Remember our pirate and our parrot and what they said? The pirate said multiply, or the parrot said multiply yourself by yourself as many times as I say. So it doesn't mean multiplying it by 2. It means taking that base, which is 2/3, and multiplying it by itself twice. So this is the same thing as 2/3 times 2/3, because we're multiplying it by itself twice. So if this was a 3 instead of a 2, it would be 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3, 3 times. All right, so let's rewrite this whole expression again. It's 1/4 plus 1/4 divided by 2/3 times 2/3, which we can simplify. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So this is 4/9. So now I have another question. Are we going to do the addition first, 1/4 plus 1/4, or are we going to do the division first, 1/4 divided by 4/9? Well, look at our order of operations. Division comes before addition. So we're going to focus on this. Now, whenever you have a fraction, 1 or 2, and a division sign, you always do keep, change, flip. So keep the 1/4, change the division to multiplication, and flip or find the reciprocal of 4/9, 9/4. So if you multiply straight across, you end up getting 1 times 9 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. So this whole entire thing, 1/4 divided by 4/9, we end up getting 9/16. Are we done the problem? Is 9/16 our answer? No, because we forgot about the 1/4. So let's rewrite this again. So this whole entire thing is 9/16, and we can't forget about the 1/4 over here. And look, that's the only thing left we have to do. 1/4 plus 9/16. So another question for you. Can we just add straight across? We cannot. Well, why can't we add straight across? Well, we need to find common denominators. Whenever we're multiplying, we do not, but if you're adding or subtracting, you always need to find common denominators. So let's look at 4 and let's look at 16. Again, you may know this, or if you're not sure, you can write the first 5 multiples of 4 and the first 5 multiples of 16. So I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Then I have 16. Oh, I don't even have to go any further because I found a common denominator of 16. So I can multiply the 4 by 4. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So that number ends up becoming 1/4, an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 16 is 4/16. Whew. Now we can add. So 9 plus 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 16 plus 16, remember we never add the denominators when we are adding. All right, the denominator is just 16. And we cannot simplify this at all. So our answer is 13/16. Now, that might have seemed like a very long process, and sometimes it is. So these problems are not going to be short and easy. So you need to take your time when you're solving these problems, okay? All of the whole entire process is very familiar. Dividing fractions, multiplying fractions, adding fractions. What I really want to stress is that you need to follow the order of operations when you're solving these problems. All right? So for these problems, take your time. Remember your fraction rules. All right? Have a good day.